Okay, so here we are on day 4 of this live stream series working on this song. I thought perhaps, because I've seen some people who are, joining this or watching this later on, just to do a quick recap of what's happening with this, and possibly just go over what we're going to talk about tonight as a starting point. So essentially, we started this whole thing looking at creating a song from scratch. And the first 3 parts have been most of the work. The only thing I'm doing outside of the stream are the vocal recordings, just because the latency is too much of a pain in the butt when streaming. There is a way to do that so it's better, but it's just more complicated. So I've been just recording the vocals during the day, working on those a little bit. I did get a version of the bridge done today, but I feel like, the minute you say, I need to have this done tonight, then all of a sudden the pressure kicks in. And so I'm not positive it's the final version of it. Let me play just a little bit of that for you. I, in between, also worked on the bridge drums because they weren't really jiving too well with the rest of it. And I think that's it. I think we did the other Europa part last night, but I think I just did these 4 vocal tracks. So check it out real quick.
But cancel those that are different than now. It's us that matters. You and me. Set you free. Ignore their voices. They cannot see anything.
So, like I said, I'm not sure if that's what's really happening. There's 2 main new parts in here, which are these the top 2 vocals.
It's us that matter.
And then there's like this almost spoken part.
It's us that matter.
And then there's this 4th part, which is actually part of the first verse being repeated.
Here we are against the ropes. It's getting hard, of course they know. Hold my hand. Voices, they cannot see anything.
And then when it goes back into the final chorus, one thing I did was split the chorus into 2 sections, because the first part of the chorus has always been a little bit milder, and then it ramps up for the second half of it. And I wanted just to have the more ramped up section twice at the very end. So here's what the original first part starts like.
They say get in line.
But this one starts.
They say get in line. Believe what we believe.
And all the other backing parts and stuff are slightly different, and I just like how that is a little bit better. Anyway, so what I want to do tonight then is actually start editing some of the vocals, because I think there's some things to really think about when using Logic when you're working on vocals. At least some of the techniques and things. So first of all, I'm using the comp feature, which means I'm recording, and then it's essentially a loop recording. It doesn't have to be a loop, but that's how I did it. And then every time it went back to the beginning, it just put another take inside this take folder. And then I can go through and cut these up and change them around, except for the fact that for the most part, I was pretty happy with the final take of what I got with this. So I don't actually need to do that kind of editing at this point. However, I do want to make sure that I keep this particular set of files just like they are inside the take folder. And that's important because when we go to flex pitch, we can't do them inside the take folder like that. And so we need to really flatten them down. But I'm going to come over here to my take or my actual track alternatives. I'm going to duplicate this one. So now that I'm on C, and then I'm going to come over here to my actual take folder. I'm going to say flatten like that. So now you'll see I don't have any of the takes. I can't go down there, but I can always go back into B and find the takes and then copy and paste them into track alternative C. It's just a nice way to be able to keep all the takes, but flatten it down so that I can start working on it in terms of the pitch. So I'm going to turn on the flex engine and then put it up on flex pitch. I had already flipped on that switch a few minutes ago, so that's why it didn't take any time to render. But now I've got all of my pitches here. You can see what it looks like pre-auto tune correction going on. And I can now come through and start to edit this out a little bit. And I had originally done a harmony part at the beginning, but I muted it, which just involved using the scissor tool to cut it. And then I used the mute tool to just turn it off so that it's still there, but it's just not playing. And then, so I'm just using the one track right here.
Here we are.
And this is, I think I'm going to solo it out for this. It's not my favorite thing to do to play my vocals soloed out ever, but I think it's going to work okay. And I want you to be able to hear what I'm doing with the pitch correction here, because I like the sound of the voice through the pitch processing. It's like what I do with all of my songs. It's how I like to sing and to hear them. And I think it works with the style of music I'm doing. But this part right now, because it's going through the pitch correction plugin right now, that's doing a lot of the work. This, I have to look at it and decide a little bit of what needs to be changed, and also listen to it. I'm going to leave the pitch correction plugin on all the time, but this I can actually make it so that that's the plugin's doing less work, or I can make it do more work in some situations. So for this,
Here we are.
so that's the last note right there. I'm just going to be doing a lot of like fine tuning here. I do the fine pitch, which is that top little circle, and then the bottom one is the vibrato amount, which is really just a pitch correction amount. So I can accentuate that or flatten it out a little bit more.
Here we are.
And I don't know.
Here we are.
I could just take that first note and bring it in line with the other one if I want to start right on that note.
Here we are.
Here we are. So pull this other note that down.
Here we are.
And those were the wrong ones.
Here we are.
Let's go even tighter with that.
Here we are.
And I'm going to leave it like that for now. That's going to be with all the other tracks. I think it'll work.
Against the road.
I can already hear that it's like a different note there.
Against the road.
Let's get this one just up in the right place and flattened a little bit more.
Against the ropes. It's getting hard.
So I'm probably not going to do this level of detail in all of them right now. Partly because I think as long as there's nothing really wrong with it, it'll be okay in the overall mix. But I do want to make sure that the first phrases of this song are at least close enough so that people who listen to it just kind of get into what it sounds like and then stop paying attention.
It's getting hard. Of course they know.
So right there's a big blip. Flatten these ones out so it doesn't do that weird T-Pain thing too much.
Of course they know.
I like that it goes down. I just didn't like the warble thing, but we could try it there. Let's get this one right and locked in.
Of course they know. Of course they know.
We'll leave that for now.
Look across that empty field.
That one does blip a little bit. Let's see if I can just smooth it out.
That empty field. They're standing there.
Ooh, that one definitely sinks to the wrong note. So this is one phase of the editing of the vocals.
They're standing there. Not a new deal.
There's some definitely warble in there that I don't like.
Not a new deal. Oh.
Let's lock this one down. And then I'll skip ahead in a second to when it's actually coming up soon, but the part where we start having harmonies, because there's different things I have to do when there's multiple voices.
Not a new deal. Hold my...
Let's lock that down. Okay, there we go. Let's see.
Hold my hand.
Yeah, that one's all over the place. Let's see. Okay, so tedious work, but...
Hold my hand. It's all I've got.
I actually like that goes up a little bit at the end, just softly.
All I've got. Push.
But that one's not... Ooh, that might be too high.
Push.
Right down.
Push on through. It's not a lot.
Lock that one down a little bit more.
It's not a lot. They looked our way.
Let's not have that do that at the end. Okay, so we're almost to where the harmony stuff starts.
They looked our way.
I think I need to lock that one down.
They looked our way. Hide your eyes.
Let's try that.
Hide your eyes.
Oof. It's like I sing, but I'm not a singer.
Hide your eyes. Inch back home. Inside their lies.
Ooh, let's get that one locked down.
Hide their lies.
And it's too low. That's partly why.
Hide their lies.
Okay, cool.
They say.
Okay, so now I've got to do the same thing I did with the first section with these ones. So let's do duplicate and a duplicate. There we go. And then I'm going to flatten and flatten. So now this is where the other part of this goes into play, because Now I've got to worry about how the notes start and end together, and also how the harmonies play out. So we have to think about both of those things. Turn on flex. Ooh, I didn't do pitch flex in the other one. Let me do that. So it starts with slicing, but I want it to be the other one. Okay. And then it does another round of analyzing when you switch it into pitch flex. Okay, cool. So I've got my top one here, which sounds like this.
They say.
Okay. And the other round of what I have to do. So I'm going to do a little bit of this, and then I need to actually look at the breaths. I haven't done any breath editing on this either, and I'll actually go through and either automate those down or just cut them out completely, because there's a lot of breathing happening you don't want necessarily. But I just haven't got there yet.
They say, get in line.
Ooh, so that was the first. Anyway, that's not bad.
They say.
But the low note is warbling a little bit.
They say.
And the high note is too. So let's do both of these real quick.
They say.
So pull this one up, this one up. And if you thought music production was all fun and games, this is not the fun part.
They say, get in line.
Okay, cool. And let's try this low one now, see how that's looking. Where are you, notes? There you are.
They say,
So let's pull these all into the same note. And you can actually, there are some other things we can do with this. So for instance, I can use the glue tool here, and it will do like a new note that represents everything that's of all of them, and then I can vibrato that flat. But you'll see it has like a little glitch at the end of that.
they say.
And so I've had issues with this when I do that. And so 9 times out of 10, I find it's better just to manually leave all the notes separate. Okay, let's try that.
They say, they say, get in line.
So then I have to go back and forth between the 1 and the 3.
They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say that.
So I'm going to have to do more work on each of these, but I'm trying now to skim ahead a little bit so you can see techniques rather than every little edit that I'm making. But I'm going to hit this note here while I'm here. Okay.
They say that different is good.
Ooh, so that's a good example of something that doesn't line up.
Different is good.
Everything kind of hits at a different time. Okay, so here is what I have to do for this. I have to cut these apart. If I don't cut them apart, they're going to change the timing of phrases before and after. And now that I have them apart, I can come with my pointer tool. Let's see. Where are you? There you are. And first, I might want to tighten that pitch down because I see it's off.
Different is good.
that one's longer than all the rest, so I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. And I might shorten a couple of these other ones as I'm doing this just to tighten it down. I think some of these I might have to elongate a little bit. So I'm doing a combination of looking and listening to see if I can get this to match out the phrase a little bit better.
They say that different is good.
Okay, so the first one now, I don't want to make this worse. Right there, I made it worse a little bit. Just the beginning. They were starting a little bit better, but now.
Say that different is good.
So let's see what's actually happening with the pitch on this middle.
They say that different is good.
Different is good. But I think these ones are falling all over the place. Let's just have them stay on the same note. Flatten, flatten, flatten. Let's see if that works.
Different is good.
And then the top one needs a little bit of pitching too. It's kind of all over the place.
Different is good.
What note are we on here? I don't think that's right.
Different is good. Different is good.
Okay, so now I'm getting too much in the weeds. I'm going to go out and listen a little bit with all the tracks.
Push on through. It's not allowed. Lift our way. Hide your eyes. It's back home. Inside their lives. They say, get in line.
I gotta fix this first one. It's just driving me cranky. I dipped really hard into that first note instead of just hitting it at the right place. I want it to laser. Okay, let's try that.
They say,
Oh. And then I think I'm on the wrong note. Let's try that.
they say,
No. Where do I want that?
they say,
I think it was right the first time.
they say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say that different is good, but can't.
Different is good. Different is good. I think I want to take those down.
Different is good, but cancel those that are different than them.
Ooh, system overload. I haven't hit one of those in a while. I think that's because I'm sending out my audio to the black hole driver at a buffer size of 128. But we hit a buffer. I haven't hit one of those in a while, so that's kind of cool. So you can see my process. Now, this is how long the song is. The good news is, once I do the chorus like this, I'm going to be dropping what I've done into the other places where it repeats. So I've got to do the first verse, which is getting closer. This chorus is 25% done, maybe 30% done. The next verse I'd have to do, this chorus is the same as that chorus, and the second half is the same as that chorus. So once I get this first one done, I'm good. So then it's just the bridge. So there's stuff to do for sure, but I think that you see my process, and I'm not going to do the rest in front of you because nobody needs that kind of craziness. The other thing that I want to do is maybe talk a little bit about the beginning of the mix, because what I'm doing right now, everything's kind of all over the place level-wise, and that's because this was a songwriting session and not a mix session yet. And so now, if I'm getting ready for the mix, there are some things I need to do. You can see that I keep the overall color scheme of the default tracks. I've been using them for so long now. Some people like to put drums in red and color code everything. I put all my vocals in blue, all of my virtual instruments in green, and the drummer track in yellow. So I'm not switching any of that out color-wise, but I do think that if you have a preference for organization, now is a good time to do it, because once you get into the mix, quickly being able to see what you're doing, I think makes a big difference. I don't have anything organized in a particular way. In fact, the way that this is organized is the way I wrote it. So I did the drums first, the bass parts, the keys, the synth. I started my vocals, so I left them there. And then I did all of my reason stuff at the bottom. And so I don't necessarily, I could reorganize it, but now I'm living with the song for an entire week. I'm going to leave it how it is for the moment and not mess with it. Some people want to move everything to a certain place on the track list. I don't think that matters if you're just working with yourself. The next thing then becomes how I'm going to start getting all the gains in the right places. And one of the first thins to see is that I have, let me put this one back on volume for now. Let's see. So they're all on volume. I have volume automation written for the drums, just because I wanted the bridge part to come up a little bit when I was doing the vocals. And then I've got on the actual vocal tracks. Now, I like the vocal tracks kind of where they are in terms of overall level. And so a lot of what I'm going to be doing here is coming through all of my other tracks, except for those ones. So shift click over, command click to deselect the vocal. The drums have some automation, so I'm not going to adjust those because they'll just pop right back. But everything else, I'm going to pull down about 6 decibels just to make sure I've got some headroom. I might need more, might need less. But I'm going to listen for a second towards the beginning. And then I can start, because I have volume automation for the vocal already, build it around that a little bit.
Here we are, against the ropes. It's getting hard.
Now, it's actually not going to sound terribly softer when I did that because I was pushing it so hard already that I have this limiter on the master fader. I'm going to push this back up to about -3 for now. My goal is to potentially put this out on like Apple Music and Spotify. And so you want to hit a certain level there, typically around -14 LUFS. But we'll talk about that when we finish the whole project tomorrow night. And so I'm going to pull my limiter back up just a little bit to -3 so I know kind of where I'm sitting, and then just listen for a second.
Here we are, against the road. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there, not a new deal. Hold my hand, it's all I got.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I like my drums, but like the part of them, but I want to start actually figuring out what's going to work and not. I need to open up the Speakeasy producer kit because I want to be able to independently change some of the things and process them a little bit differently. So the Speakeasy Plus kit is what's loading now. And so now I've got all of the drums that I can actually process and work with separately. They have some basic effects and things on them, but that doesn't mean I need to keep all of those. We have the kick in, and it already has like this EQ, which you can see it's lowering, below 60. And I actually am going to do this thing where I boost it up just a little bit because I want to be able to feel that a little bit more. The other thing I'm going to do right now for the rest of the stream is put on one of my mixing plugins that I use for everything. And it's going to make it sound funny for you. It's not going to sound exactly right as an outsider listening on the stream, but I'm putting on the new NX Oceanway Nashville NX Tracker plugin. This is how I'm mixing most of the time when I'm doing this. I just turned on the unit. This is what that thing on top of my headphones is. It attaches to this. This is what it looks like right here, the other plugin for it. It's on. I got connection. It's tracking all of my head movements now. And then I'm going to calibrate for front. Make sure that everything's front. I'm going to use the HR5 set for this for the moment. But I can switch back and forth between their two monitor types. But if you listen,
Push on through. It's not allowed.
so now what this is doing is it locks my music. Drop my mouse. It's locking my music as if it's on speakers in front of me. And so now if I turn my head, it sounds like it's coming out of the speakers in front of me, and I can start listening to how things are interplaying with each other and how it's all tying together. My mouse is back after dropping it. So I'm just going to put this on in the background and close it now and not think about it. But when I move my head, you're going to hear things, especially if you're on headphones, it's going to sound weird to you. And that's normal. So I want to hear the kick. Well, the kicks. I mean, what a lame kick, actually, but... But that's the kick. And I want to come through... Yeah, we're going to turn it up some more here at the plugin. I actually want to tune it down just slightly and dampen it so it doesn't ring out too much. Okay, and then I need to come back up and reset my groove track because I noticed that when I switched to the producer kit, it turned it off and I lost some of my timing, but it should be back now. I'm actually going to pitch up the snare just a little bit so that it cuts through a little bit better without having to do any EQ or anything. So I'm going to start, setting up some levels here. I like to get that triangle set a little bit with the bass, the kick, and the snare. This is more of a subtle starting place, but I think it's gonna work okay. And then I had a lot of processing going on the overall drum kit before, and I think I'm going to need to maybe recreate some of that so it's a little louder.
Here we are against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there, not a new deal. Hold my hand. It's all I got.
That does not sound like it's doing anything at all. Yeah, it is. It's just subtle. Okay, cool. And then I had it really compressed before, but I moved the input and output down to a mix ratio that let some of the natural stuff through. This way I can really still squish it a little bit, but keep it natural. Yeah, that's gonna work.
Here we are against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there, not a new deal. Hold my hand. It's all I got.
And this thing is just panned right down the middle right now, but I can't leave it there because it's going to get in the way of the vocals. I don't want to necessarily move it to one side or the other because I think that even though there's nothing else to really balance it out, this other synth is not going to balance it. Well, maybe it will actually. Well, that one's already off to the right. But if I want to keep the texture there without really competing, then I'm going to use something like the stereo spread.
Hold my hand. It's all I got.
Okay, I like that, but it's not drastic enough. So I'm also going to put an EQ in the line. And I'm going to do the mid only, which is the center part of my stereo channel. And I'm going to lower down kind of where the vocals are, just to pull out the center of that instrument so it doesn't compete with the vocals.
Inside.
Okay, start that over.
Here we are against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there, not a new deal. Hold my hand.
And I think I'm going to do the same thing with the other Reason instrument that's doing all the pattern things. I'm going to move those same effects just to get that out of the center a little bit.
Here we are against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there.
And I don't know for sure, but I think I want to use one of my favorite Reason rack plugins on here. Maybe, we'll see. But it's the distortion unit in tape mode. So it does a subtle thing.
Not a new deal. Hold my hand. It's all I got. Push on through. It's not allowed. They looked our way. Hide your eyes. It's back home. Inside their lives. They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say.
Yeah, that's not going to work for this. Needs to be more clean. Maybe a slight amount of distortion. Maybe. No, not that one. That's not what I wanted.
Different is good, but cancel those that are different than them.
No, that's too much too. I'm just looking for something to add just a slight amount of edge to this. And I don't think...
They say, here we are against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there. Not a new deal. Hold my hand. It's all I got. Push on through. It's not allowed. They looked our way. Hide your eyes. It's back home. Inside their lives. They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say.
Okay, so the tape delay distortion, is that one of the Reason things? Tape delay distortion. It's not going to show up that way. I don't know why they couldn't make this like fully alphabetical. I mean, come on. Oh, it's Logic. Okay, cool. Tape delay. There. Cool. I haven't used it for this. You're teaching me something new. I love this. Let me
Different is good, but cancel those that are different than them. They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say that different is good, but cancel those that are different than them.
New toy.
Here we are, against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there, not a new deal. Hold my hand, it's all I got. Push on through, it's not allowed. Look our way,
Yeah.
hide your eyes. It's back home, inside their lives. They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See, here we are, against the ropes. It's getting hard. Of course they know. Look across that empty field. They're standing there, not a new deal. Hold my hand, it's all.
Yeah, so I'm right with you on your comments. I'm a little bit behind you because I'm also doing it at the same time, but super cool. That makes perfect sense. Set the delay time to 0 with the tempo sync off. In the character section, you can do some stuff. That is super cool. I think that's like the subtle right amount of what I was looking for. Awesome. I'm going to mess around with that some more later. We're about to wrap up this. I just want to hear kind of the ending with what I've got started to see how the chorus into the bridge into the chorus sounds, and then I think we're going to pull the plug on the stream for tonight.
They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say that different is good, but cancel those that are different than now. It's us that matters, you and me. Set you free. Ignore their voices. They cannot see anything. They say, get in line. Believe what we believe. See what we are seeing. They say that different is good, but cancel those that are different than now. They say.
Okay, my list. Things I need to work on. Finish getting the drums tweaked in. I need to get the vocals, the sound of them a little bit more dialed in. I'm going to do more with that the tape delay, which is a super cool idea. And then I need to, let's see, there was one other thing I was thinking right off the top of my, the breaths. I need to finish editing the vocal and get the breaths out and all of that. That may or may not happen for tomorrow, but it'll be close. And then we'll be able to go from there. Cool. Not only did we make progress, but I think I actually learned something new that I hadn't ever thought about doing. And that's super awesome. Sounds like there needs to be a new Logic video in the works for next week about the tape delay character setting. Awesome. Any other questions before we pull the plug? No? Well, thanks everybody for being here. And we'll be meeting up one more time for live streaming on this project. We're not done with live streaming after this, but we're definitely going to take a few days off. And then we'll do some more videos. But thanks everybody, and talk to you later.